It's time to enter a world of opulence and excess as we visit the 15 largest mansions in the world. Number 15. The One. Developed by Niall Niami and taking more than 10 years to complete, The One is a huge mansion in Bel Air on a hilltop overlooking Los Angeles and recently became the most expensive newly built house in the U.S. It was built on an 8-acre plot and only finally put up for sale in 2022 after a lengthy build. But the new owners, who paid a reported $141 million for it, truly have a one-of-a-kind property. Offering 105,000 square feet, or almost 10,000 square meters of living space, which is approximately twice that of the White House, it has virtually every amenity you'd ever dream of having in a home. On the approach, there are glass sculptures by world-renowned artists in the yard. There's a rotating sculpture in the mansion's foyer. And they set the tone for what comes next. Inside, there are 21 bedrooms with glorious views across LA, along with 42 bathrooms. There's a 10,000-bottle wine closet in the dining room, a huge family living room, a full-service beauty salon and spa, an entertainment room with a custom-designed billiards table, and the mansion also has a fully stocked bar and cigar lounge. There's also a 4-lane bowling alley, a nightclub with a large dance floor, a private movie theater, and 2-story library, 5 swimming pools, a candy bar, an exercise room, and a juice bar. It's almost as if the mansion was so large the developers had to come up with new ways to use the space, and the result is this mansion. Number 14. Kahuaya. Located on a private island in the middle of the Dushu Lake in Suzhou, China, the Kahuaya Mansion, which means Utopia in Mandarin, is one of the largest and most expensive private residences in the country. The 1.6-acre island has provided plenty of space to build this stunning home, which offers 72,000 square feet or 6,700 square meters of interior space. And every feature of the building has been designed with Feng Shui principles. The 32 bedrooms and 32 bathrooms, for example, all face south, which gives them ample natural light and incredible views over the lake. And while the home also has countless further rooms, such as 2 huge kitchens, a wine cellar, living rooms, and entertainment spaces, it's arguably the exterior that's the most impressive. Water and stone sculptors were brought in from across China to meticulously craft the space, which is full of craggy rocks, thousands of flowers, and even a natural waterfall. The infinity pool with its edge that looks over the garden and the lake is the best place to really appreciate how much thought has gone into the design. And it's no surprise that when it recently sold, it's believed to have cost almost $154 million. Number 13. Gemini. There aren't many people who have $200 million to buy a home, but if you did and decided to move to Florida, then Gemini is the perfect example of what you could expect to get. Located on a barrier island in Manalapan, it was originally built in the 1940s on a 16-acre plot between the ocean and a lake. And not only is there the main mansion itself, but also a guest house, 2 ocean cottages, a manager's house with an office, and a tree house. There are 12 bedrooms and 34 bathrooms in the main house, with a further 7 bedrooms and 7 bathrooms in the guest house. A sports complex that includes a PGA standard golf practice area, tennis courts, basketball courts, a mini golf, and several swimming pools. The main house has what's described as a museum-quality climate control system with backup generators, a state-of-the-art security system, and 2 elevators for residents and staff to move between the floors. And there's even an underground tunnel complex that connects the various parts of the site together. As well as all the typical features you'd expect, Gemini also has a couple of unique offerings too. There's a freshwater pond that's surrounded by a bird sanctuary, and even a butterfly garden that has its own functioning model railway. Number 12. The Manor. Mapleton Drive in Holmby Hills is one of the most exclusive neighborhoods in LA, and it's there that you'll find the most expensive mansion in California, the Manor, which sold in 2019 for $119.7 million. The property was built in 1988 for Aaron Spelling, the TV producer, and with 56,500 square feet of floor space, is by far the largest mansion in LA County. Built in a French chateau style using imported limestone, the manor has 123 rooms, which include 14 bedrooms and 23 bathrooms, as well as a screening room, a gym, an entire room purpose-built for a doll collection, a bowling alley in the basement, a flower cutting room, a gift wrapping room, a barber shop, and a humidity-controlled storage room. There's also a beauty salon, a nightclub with a bar, a solarium, a wine cellar, a game room, and a tanning room. And for those days when you don't want to move too far from the bed, the master suite has its own living room and kitchen. And of course, outside there's a tennis court, a huge swimming pool, and parking space for up to 100 cars. And wonderfully manicured gardens that apparently take a team of 20 full-time gardeners to maintain. Number 11. Fairfield. The Hamptons has for more than a century been the retreat for the rich and famous of New York society. And all of the stunning mansions and venues that you'll see there, there's one that stands out above the rest: Fairfield, which was built in the late 1990s by billionaire Ira Rennert. Completed in 2004, the main building is believed to have 29 bedrooms, 39 bathrooms, its own power generating facility, 3 swimming pools, 2 courtyards, a synagogue, an orangery, a bowling alley, a basketball court, and a 164-seat private theater. Because of complaints from nearby residents, Rennert has been very secretive about the full specs of the property though, and since it covers 62,000 square feet, there's sure to be plenty more that hasn't been revealed by guests. Planning specs seem to suggest there's also a Pilates studio and a huge museum to display the more than $500 million worth of art that he's accumulated, a billiards room, and a squash court. And aerial photos reveal there are 12 chimneys, which would suggest that there are at least 12 ornate fireplaces inside too. Possibly the most surprising thing about the property, though, is that as it's valued somewhere between $300 and $500 million, his annual taxes that he has to pay are likely to be the equivalent of buying 2 average-priced American homes. Number 10. Villa Leopolda. Built on a hillside overlooking the Mediterranean Sea, Villa Leopolda sits on 18 acres of land near Villefranche-sur-Mer in France, between Nice and Monaco. Offering 30,000 square feet of floor space and believed to be worth between $500 to $700 million, it's a truly impressive property that offers views unlike anything you'll find anywhere else in the world. With 19 deluxe bedrooms and 14 bathrooms, as well as a bowling alley, several dining rooms, and a movie theater, the whole interior is decorated throughout with antique furniture, marble sculptures, and priceless artworks that were created by some of the most famous artists. That's because as well as being a modern-day paradise, Villa Leopolda is also a place steeped in history. It was originally built for King Leopold II from Belgium in 1902 and was owned by Ferrari and Fiat for a while, and also the Safra family, and has hosted countless dignitaries, celebrities, and the who's who of influential people from around the world over the past century. As much attention has been put into the exterior as to the main mansion too, with 50 full-time gardeners tending to the grounds that feature more than 1,200 different species of trees, multiple gardens and courtyards, a large greenhouse, a fountain, and a huge swimming pool. If there's ever a place that was built for peace, calm, and relaxation while being cut off from the rest of the world, then Villa Leopolda is it. Number 9. Xanadu 2.0. For a long time, he was the richest person in the world, and so it seems fitting that Bill Gates build one of the largest, most valuable, and most advanced mansions on the planet too. Known as Xanadu 2.0, the $200 million property is on the lakefront in Medina, Washington, and at 66,000 square feet, it's enormous. As he's an extremely private person, relatively little is truly known about the full features of the house, but the few details that have emerged show that it's technologically advanced and full of luxurious amenities. There are 7 bedrooms and 19 bathrooms, and most of the structure was made with 500-year-old Douglas fir trees, with about 500,000 board feet of lumber required to build it. Guests are tracked by computers throughout the house to adjust the temperature, music, lighting, and various other settings in line with their preferences. And this acts as a high-tech security system as well, with motion sensors, heat cameras, and microphones ensuring no one can sneak in without being noticed. There's several large swimming pools, an indoor trampoline room, a reception hall that's large enough to accommodate 200 guests, 6 kitchens, a library with more than $50 million worth of books in it, and a 20-seat screening room. Gates's favorite tree near the driveway is monitored 24/7 by computer and automatically watered if it gets too dry. But the most outlandish feature of the home is its lakefront beach. The sand that lines it isn't from the local area and is instead shipped in from St. Lucia every year to keep it golden and fresh. Number 8. Linwood Hall. Built between 1897 and 1900 in what is now Elkins Park in Montgomery County, Pennsylvania, Linwood Hall is not only one of the largest mansions in the U.S., but it's believed to be the biggest one in the world that is long-term vacant, with no permanent residents since 1952. The 110-room neoclassical revival structure was built for industrialist Peter A.B. Whitner, and it's the largest surviving Gilded Age mansion in the region. It was made from Indiana limestone and is T-shaped with 55 bedrooms, a huge art gallery, a 1,000-guest ballroom, a swimming pool, several wine cellars, a farm, an electricity plant, and a carpentry and upholstery studio. It was once home to a vast art collection that the Widener family had amassed and was open to the public to visit between 1915 and 1940. Following the death of all the family members, though, Linwood Hall changed ownership several times, and it was then purchased by organizations that simply wanted to sell the pieces off, which meant that the surrounding land was sold at first, and then so were the artworks, decorations, and fittings. With a floor area of 70,000 square feet, it was recently offered for sale for just $11 million, which, with an estimated $8 million needed to return it to its former glory, seems like a bargain for anyone with the spare change. Number 7. Chateau Pensmore. Covering an area of 72,000 square feet or 6,700 square meters in the Ozark Mountains of Missouri, Chateau Pensmore is one of the largest and toughest mansions in the U.S., with experts suggesting it's even more secure than the White House. It took 8 years to build, and it was finally finished in 2016. Across the 5 floors, there are 13 bedrooms, 14 bathrooms, countless entertainment rooms, a wine cellar, at least 2 kitchens, a huge carport, and plenty more. But it's the way the Missouri castle was constructed that's perhaps the most interesting bit. The man behind it said it was built to last and should stay standing for 2,000 years. The entire structure is made up of 12-inch thick concrete that's reinforced by a newly developed steel fiber called helix. And this means that it's not only earthquake-resistant, but bulletproof, bomb-proof, fire-resistant, bug-resistant, and able to withstand an F5 tornado. Number 6. Versailles Mansion. It's notorious for being over the top, a never-ending project, and an exercise in how money can't buy you class. But whatever you think of it, the Versailles Mansion in Florida is one of the largest in the U.S., with a footprint of more than 85,000 square feet, or 7,900 square meters. It was the creation of the Siegel family, who began construction of the Palace of Versailles-inspired home in 2004. But amid financial difficulties and changing designs, it's still not fully completed. When it's finished, it's expected to be worth in excess of $100 million. Will include 14 bedrooms, 9 kitchens, 3 indoor pools, 2 outdoor pools, and 2 tennis courts. There will also be a 2-story movie theater, a ballroom that can accommodate up to 1,000 people, a 20,000-bottle wine cellar, a huge aquarium, a bowling alley, and a baseball diamond. The doors and the windows of the building cost $4 million alone and were made of some of the last legal Brazilian mahogany that was acquired before a ban was put in place on its trade. And the exterior walls are made of concrete, but covered in a marble veneer that was imported from Turkey. Number 5. Whittonhurst. Built on a 5-acre plot of land in Highgate, North London, Whittonhurst is a 1930s Georgian revival mansion that's had a number of high-profile owners, and as it was designed by architect George Hubbard, is now regarded as historically significant and has been Grade 2 listed, which means very little can be done to change the exterior or overall structure. With more than 90,000 square feet or 8,300 meters of interior space, it's the second largest private residence in London and is currently estimated to be worth around $450 million. Over the years, the internal design has changed substantially, but it's believed to have 65 rooms across 3 floors, of which 25 are bedrooms. It's mostly decorated in the classical style. There's a huge drawing room, entry hall, dining room, Chinese room, a billiard room, and a dedicated 3-fingered gatehouse that controls access to the site. Probably the most spectacular aspect of Whittonhurst is the ballroom, though, which measures 70 feet by 20 feet and has a fully oak-paneled floor, walnut wall panels, and carved cornices that are accented with gold leaf. As a result of being used for a TV talent show in the mid-noughties, the property now also has a cutting-edge recording studio, gym, and salon. Number 4. Biltmore Estate. With an enormous 178,000 square feet or 16,000 square meters of floor space, The Biltmore estate in Asheville, North Carolina is by far the largest privately owned property in the U.S. Regarded as the finest example of Gilded Age design, it was built between 1889 and 1895 by George Washington Vanderbilt II and is still owned by his descendants to this day. To facilitate such a huge project, the first things they built were a woodworking factory and a brick kiln that allowed them to produce 32,000 bricks a day on site instead of having to transport them in. Set within 8,000 acres of land, it's a historic monument that's open to the public to visit, and because it's never been sold, no one truly knows how much it's worth, although it will undoubtedly be at least several $100 million. There are 250 rooms in the mansion, with 35 bedrooms and 43 bathrooms, 3 kitchens, a gigantic banquet hall, a music room, and a tapestry gallery, and also a 2-story library which contains more than 10,000 books in 8 different languages, most of which are first editions of classic literary works. The ornate decorations inside the mansion are unlike anything you'll find anywhere else, such as a 1916 Skinner pipe organ, rare Flemish tapestries, a cantilevered 107-step grand staircase, and a traditionally designed conservatory with its own model railway. There are modern amenities too, such as a basement swimming pool with underwater lighting and a bowling alley, but most people who visit do so to see the incredible grounds surrounding the building itself, which are meticulously maintained. Number 3. Buckingham Palace. It's one of the most famous, most photographed, and most visited buildings on the planet, and it's located in central London. Buckingham Palace is undoubtedly one of the most valuable pieces of real estate worldwide. With 830,000 square feet, or 77,000 square meters of floor space, it's owned by the reigning monarch of the Crown of England, which is currently the Queen, and is so large that it's unlikely even she, after living there as her main home for more than half a century, has even seen every part of it. In total, there are 775 rooms, which include 188 staff bedrooms, 92 offices, 78 bathrooms, 52 bedrooms for principal guests, and 19 staterooms. It's almost like a small town in its own right, with a post office, cinema, doctor's surgery, a jeweler's workshop, and a swimming pool, a huge ballroom where state banquets are held, various reception rooms, a music room, and of course, a throne room. The entire palace is adorned with priceless antiques, with paintings from renowned artists, sculptures, and gifts that have been given to the monarchy by leaders from around the world. Beyond the palace, itself is the largest private garden in London, along with extensive grounds that are open to the public. It's also meant to be one of the most secure places on Earth, with its own army regiment dedicated to protecting it, as well as a permanent police presence. But there have been a few breaches over the years by people wanting to get close to the Queen. Thought to be worth several $1 billion if it were ever to be sold, it's the most historically important private home anywhere on Earth. Number 2. Antilia. If you're not fortunate enough to inherit a huge mansion, then the only alternative is to either buy one or build one for yourself. And Indian billionaire Mukesh Ambani decided to design his own dwelling for himself and his family. Known as Antilia, it's believed to have cost as much as $2 billion to build. It's located on the Billionaires' Row in Mumbai, India, overlooking one of the poorest districts of the city. The structure is 27 stories tall, although the extra high ceilings means that an equivalent-sized building would normally have 60 floors, and it has 400,000 square feet. There's 3 helipads, a 168 internal car garage, a 50-seat theater, a health center, a temple, a swimming pool, and even a snow room where artificial snow is blown in from recesses in the walls. Designed to be fully earthquake-proof, the top 6 floors are reserved solely for the family, and across the other floors there's accommodation for more than 600 staff members that are required to run it. Number 1. Istana Nurul Iman Palace. Located on the shore of the Brunei River, just to the southwest of the capital city of Brunei, Bandar Seri Begawan, the Istana Nurul Iman Palace is home to the Sultan of Brunei and is also the seat of the country's government. While it has this official capacity, it's still regarded as the largest residential palace on Earth and was completed in 1984 at a cost of $1.4 billion, which is the equivalent to around $4 billion today. Featuring 1,788 rooms, there are 257 bathrooms, a banquet hall that's large enough for 5,000 guests, a 1,500-capacity mosque, 5 swimming pools, an air-conditioned stable that holds 200 ponies, and a 110-car garage. It has 2.1 million square feet of space and is said to have 51,000 light bulbs all throughout the rooms and passageways. For most of the year, the site is private, but there are some occasions when it's open to the public. During an annual celebration, which is at the end of the Muslim fasting month, more than 100,000 people go there to receive food and money for children, and it's also open during 10 days of the Ramadan period. Watch our binge-watching playlist if you'd like to watch all of our most popular top 15 videos. Grab a drink, grab a snack, and get ready to binge.